Each year, about 5,000 Americans are newly diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, more commonly referred to as Lou Gehrig's disease. ALS first gained widespread recognition in 1939 when baseball player Lou Gehrig was diagnosed with the condition. Last summer, doctors told Greenfield parishioner Larry Filiault that he had ALS. The well-known pro-life advocate who has long fought for the unborn suddenly was fighting for his own life. Carolee McGrath now has the touching story of the grace that can come through suffering.
I'm in the wheelchair, and then what they did was they told Father and Maureen, you have to kind of stand to the side. And they kind of put me over the wheelchairs. And I have to be honest, I looked around and I said, what am I doing here?
Larry Filiault breaks up before fellow parishioners in Greenfield. Larry, who has spent years defending the lives of the unborn, sick, and cast aside, is now in the fight of his life.
I still make deals with God every day, if you just don't take my voice, if you just don't let my arm get any worse. I make all these deals all the time, but I recognize also truly that this is God's will, it's not mine.
Larry was recently diagnosed with ALS. He shared his struggle and his tremendous faith with fellow parishioners from both Holy Trinity Parish and Blessed Sacrament in Greenfield. Larry, who is the religious education coordinator for both parishes, has been in the trenches for Christ for years. He's well known and respected for his pro-life work in Franklin County. In July, everyone was shocked when Larry was diagnosed with ALS. Often referred to as Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS is a fatal, progressive, neurodegenerative disease. It affects the nerve cells in the brain and the spinal cord, causing muscle weakness and paralysis.
Jesus Christ died for us, and he died totally alone. And here he's given me this, but he's given me hundreds, literally thousands of people to hold me up and support me while this is happening.
Several people from both Holy Trinity and Blessed Sacrament, Larry's parish, rallied around his family after hearing the news about his grave condition. They raised money to send Larry, his wife Maureen, and Father Timothy Campoli, the pastor of Blessed Sacrament, on a pilgrimage to Lourdes in France. It is there where the Blessed Mother appeared to a young peasant girl, Saint Bernadette, 18 times. Each year, millions of pilgrims go to Lourdes, which is known as a place of miracles.
Our youngest daughter's named Mary, after our Blessed Mother. We feel like she's the one who got us back to our Lord and back to the church. And so when we had the opportunity to go over to Lourdes and to spend the time in the grotto where she was, where she appeared, and to ask her for help with this very difficult diagnosis and this very difficult cross that God has given to us in our life, we certainly were very blessed to be able to do that.
Father Campoli, a family friend, has known Larry and Maureen for 20 years.
And even with his sickness now that he's dealing with, it's an inspiration to so many people. Most people could probably just say, what's the use, and want to give up. But he continues on, and he's an example to everybody.
Larry and Maureen, married for 28 years, have 4 children. Larry says breaking the news to his kids was the hardest part.
I remember bringing home the diagnosis, and we were devastated, and Father was there with us, and I just said to everybody, I said, you know what, cry all you want today, but that's it. We're not going to sit here and mourn every single day of our life until this disease takes me, if it does. I said, we're going to be very happy, and we're going to accept this. Now, how did I do that? I don't know. God gave me the grace to do it, and that's just exactly the way we try to live our life every day.
And while it might be tempting to start doubting the Church's teachings on assisted suicide and embryonic stem cell research, Larry says his belief in those pro-life principles has never been stronger.
If it takes someone else dying for me to be saved, where's the answer? That's not the answer.
I would not ever give up a baby's life for my husband's life, because it's just as important. God is the giver of life, we are not. And so whatever God gives to us, we accept.
And as strong as Larry has been since the shocking diagnosis, he has his moments. Both he and Maureen are a united front, and they're uniting their suffering to Christ.
Suffering in a sense, can be a grace from God. It's hard to look at it that way sometimes. Sure, I struggle looking at it that way sometimes, but many times I see it, it's shown to me so clearly. And just the way God works through your suffering. And the whole key is to unite your suffering to Christ's suffering.
Larry says he knows God is using his story to reach other people with an illness or with any other cross. He hopes people will recognize that even in life's most difficult moments, Jesus is right there. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.